Your father wanted you to have this when you were old enough. Your father's lightsaber.
It's safe to say at this point, The Last Jedi inadvertently ruined itself. The Star Wars legacy which George Lucas created has been truly shat on by Kathleen Kennedy and the so-called Star Wars fans working for her. Never have I felt so passionate, no, so upset, no, betrayed with Star Wars to the point I refuse to believe Star Wars continued after Episode 6 to purely keep my memory of beloved characters Luke, Han, Leia, Chewie, C-3PO, R2-D2, Admiral Akbar intact. So let us pull apart what they created and construct a better Last Jedi with the abysmal, unrealistic, unrelatable, boring characters they created, and by the end of this, try and create a compelling Episode 8 with some heart and some Star Wars adventurous feel, and quite frankly, that isn't laughable. Cringy and disappointing. It's pretty hard to get excited for something when the movie itself left you with nothing to get excited for and inadvertently destroyed all promise, what little there was, and interest in the story. Rose Tico. It's clear to me now that Rose should not have been in this film at all. Period. She's not a character we care about, and once again we are almost forced push this stuff down our throat saying you must love Rose Tico, and if you don't, then you're a Star Wars troll. The most damaging thing with her characters was when she was created, that character took over the moral choices which Finn should have done throughout this film, so the audience becomes more attached to Finn as a character. But instead, they decided to opt for Rose, put her in the story claiming she has importance when really she doesn't, and therefore completely ruined what could have been a humorous, heartfelt, purpose-filled adventure with Finn and Poe. Poe should have gone with Finn, not Rose. Oh, and don't forget they managed to portray Rose's character in the most cringe-worthy ways possible to the point you're wondering if you're actually watching a Star Wars movie. Told you, dummy. But what's worse with Rose's involvement is that so-called romance between her and Finn. I can almost imagine Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy sitting there saying, well, maybe they should fall in love at the end, and did it in one of the worst ways possible, and I think probably the most awkward kiss scenes in film history. There must be something wrong with me, because I remember the scene in Empire Strikes Back when Leia and Han kiss, and Leia tells Han she loves him just before he's about to be frozen in carbonite. The stakes were so high, and it could have potentially been the last time Leia would see Han, which made that a perfect romantic scene which will go down in Star Wars history. But this? Oh my god, was possibly the worst moment among many terrible moments in The Last Jedi that I hated so much. It was like two robots, Kathleen Kennedy and Rian Johnson, attempting to capture that moment in Empire Strikes Back, but it backfired so much it instantly became another reason to draw you out of the believability of the film. In conclusion, for Rose Tico, I don't think she should have been included in this film. Maybe she had a small role at the start, but they should have kept her on board the ship and left it as that. I cannot stress enough that Poe Dameron should have gone with Finn on the adventure to Canto Bight and then end up on the Supremacy with Finn, but we'll get into that shortly. DJ. The story direction they went with DJ originally showed promise, but it wasn't long until it had been Rian Johnson-ified and inevitably turned into a nothing character with no purpose to the film plot whatsoever. Something I did like, and yes, there were some things I did like in The Last Jedi, even though they were few and far between, was when he was showing the arms dealer holograms to Finn and Rose, and it was like, don't pick a side, all benefits corrupt people, and I liked that. So of course I thought, well, perhaps he'll become a likable character. Oh, here's what should have been done with DJ's character. He's a slimeball, but he doesn't betray Finn and Poe. He's a different kind of hero, one we haven't seen in Star Wars before. His morals are a bit on the edge, but eventually he's exposed and sees the First Order for what they really are. And perhaps this could have been done when him, Finn and Poe are on their covert operation on the Supremacy, and eventually get captured, which spurs him to join the Resistance. If DJ is exposed to the cruelty of the First Order in this film, then us the audience will be too, adding depth to not only his character, but also showing us that the First Order is not a force to be reckoned with. This creates suspense, excitement, and something else to look forward to in Episode 9. DJ could have been that Lando Calrissian in this film, but more of the selfish bastard who only cares about money, doing someone over, and surviving in the galaxy, until he meets Poe and Finn, seeing they both have a purpose to fight against the tyranny of the First Order. When they're captured on the Supremacy, there's an opportunity for an adventurous, believable Definitely not this. Escape scene. They manage to secure a ship from the First Order hangar and then escape, but their escape comes as a consequence, because the First Order are able to track their ships, therefore leading the First Order straight to the secret base on Crate. That's another thing. I seriously hated this track through hyperspace bullshit. It makes too many solutions for the First Order to track the faster resistance ship through hyperspace, jump into hyperspace and then jump out of hyperspace again in front of them and then destroy the faster resistance ship. If that makes sense. And no hyperspace running. It was an immensely cool scene, but fundamentally goes against Star Wars space battle logic. But once again, does something amazing The Last Jedi does best. Destroys not only itself, but other Star Wars space battles, if cruisers are now able to hyperspace themselves into other ships. Where was I? Oh yes. DJ joins the Resistance and his clever mind is put to good use, and becomes a valuable member of the Resistance elite. Maybe he even fights in Crate, but doesn't make it. He sacrifices himself for Finn and Poe. Or maybe even Finn and Poe escape the First Order and risk their lives to save DJ, who is baffled to why anyone would even save a slime ball like him. That then means during the Battle of Crate, DJ could do something heroic to save Finn and Poe. You know, it's like poetry, they rhyme. Oh, bring back George Lucas. Maybe DJ even blows up that battering ram. See, there's infinite amount of opportunities for his character in this film, yet the filmmakers struggle to even come up with a cohesive story plot for him. And it's completely underrated, wasted, it's a complete joke. Poe Dameron. I think the treatment of Poe Dameron's character was completely disgusting in The Last Jedi. It was apparent that the feminist pushing Kathleen Kennedy had heavy influence in the humiliation of Poe Dameron's character. Why all of a sudden is Poe treated as this hotshot, reckless male pilot who disobeys orders and leads the audience to believe that he's jeopardizing people's lives because he wants to be a hero in every battle? No, I'm not buying it. Remember, this is a guy that blew up the First Order Starkiller base, which proven itself to be the deadliest thing in the galaxy. You would have thought that heroic action in enough by itself would grant him hero rights and maybe an early retirement. He obeyed orders in The Force Awakens, so why am I made to believe he's this young, inexperienced adolescent pilot in The Last Jedi? If anything, Vice Admiral Purplehair should be listening to Poe. I strongly believe that Holdo was meant to represent Kathleen Kennedy, this strong individual female character. I wish she even cast herself in this movie and saved Laura Dern from playing this character. Then it would have made a lot of sense as to why Holdo was being such an irritating turd throughout the majority of this movie. The thing which is a game changer, if Finn, Poe, and C-3PO went on their mission to Canto Bight to break out this codebreaker, DJ, and not to end up with him by default like what we got in Last Jedi, and then went on a covert operation on board Snoke's ship, the Supremacy, where they're all in disguise and they attempt to capture vital First Order information which enables the Resistance to wipe off the planet Crate from the First Order databank, meaning that the planet will be invisible and become a safe stronghold for the fleeing Resistance. Poe is the ace pilot which enables them to land on the Supremacy. DJ is the codebreaker who enables them to fly undetected. They successfully infiltrate the Supremacy and accomplish their mission until Finn is recognized by Phasma and they will get captured apart from C-3PO. They will get sentenced to death for plotting against the First Order. C-3PO rescues Poe and Finn, known Resistance collaborators and traitors, who in turn set out to rescue DJ, who thought it was game over for him. As like I said before, he wonders why anyone would rescue someone like him when he has done nothing good for anyone else. They accomplish their mission, wipe the planet from the First Order intelligence and escape. But as I previously mentioned, they escape on a ship which is being tracked. Poe's character is able to develop, especially with Finn, create character dynamics with DJ, and it'd be a cool way to integrate C-3PO into the movie and giving him actual purpose. So all four of them set out to accomplish their mission. But wait, you could see why that or something like that wouldn't happen. Because it's 4 male guys. And I'd hate to even think that something like that wouldn't happen because of that reason. It would be a fun, interesting adventure that they will go on. Each character is completely different. We get to see Finn and Poe do something which is similar to what they did on The Force Awakens, but on a more risky scale. You get to see this character DJ who does something you actually see there and then turn into a hero and become a valuable member of the Resistance. But that was another waste with Poe Dameron. They left him on the ship to have this stupid story arc with Admiral Holdo and this power struggle, which just we didn't want to see. We didn't want to see it happen. We didn't ask for something like that, yet the filmmakers think that this is what we want and this is what we'd enjoy. You are greatly mistaken. Luke is not on Arc 2. If we were to change anything, something which would be an absolute must, is Luke is not on Arc 2. I've come to the realization that the island was just crappy and terrible. It's not Star Warsy. It was a terrible, unbelievable location. Something I always admired George Lucas for was being able to always come up with a new planet which was completely different to what we've seen before, which in turn gave us endless opportunities to experience new cultures, new environments, and all the good things that make the planet different from others. The only planet which has been different in these last two films are Crate. Wow. In the prequels by the second film, we've been to Naboo, back to Tatooine, Coruscant, the capital of the galaxy where we get to see even more species in the Senate, Camino, Geonosis, all now iconic planets. But what do we have here? Jakku. A planet so similar in aesthetics it might as well have been called Tatooine. Takodana, a green Endor forest / England-like place. Oh. And Arc 2, the most visually unpleasing BBC documentary island they could have possibly found. I strongly believe if there was a massive storyboard and George Lucas was selecting what's good for the film and what's not, Arc 2, Takodana, and Jakku would not have made the cut. They should have all been made unique planets, and there'd be no map to Luke Skywalker nonsense. It should have been Luke's choice to come out of hiding. He went into hiding for a reason, so why would he even leave a map behind or someone even have a map? It just makes no sense. This place that Luke Skywalker has been hiding should have been sacred with the Force, with old ruins, atmosphere, and the Force, both light and dark, not this crappy island inhabited by fish bird locals and green milk fish monsters. What's special about that? All I thought to myself is why I could see why the first Jedi decided to leave the island. I would leave the island because it seems like an inhabitable, steep, unpractical, gradient place to live. Also, there was nothing mystic about it. Rian Johnson turned it into a joke with the fishing, the weird alien humor. It just made no sense, and we're made to believe that this place is special. I think not. What's apparent to me is that this Arc 2 place where Luke's been hiding should have been on another planet, which is extremely powerful with the Force, and Luke is living there, but the Force is playing tricks on Luke and showing him visions of the past and the future, which means visions of Darth Vader. This would have been something amazingly cool and interesting. Something cool and interesting with the Force was seriously lacking. Not see a side of Luke Skywalker no one would ever want to see, and then see Rey use the same old Force powers that we've already seen before. Luke should have evolved, not devolved. The Jedi Temple is a sacred place. It should have been in a more sacred area, not this stupid island. There should be no map. The Force should have called to Rey and guided her to Luke Skywalker. Luke should have gone to his incredibly Force-sensitive planet where he's there to learn and to find answers. There should have been a reason why he's in hiding, not this, oh, I came here to die. If that was the reason, then what was the point of even going anywhere? There's many ways to do that, like fly your X-Wing into the ground or something. This story of Luke Skywalker was completely wasted. I cannot stress enough that Luke on Arc 2 just didn't work for these films whatsoever. When you have a place like Dagobah, which was sacred with the Force, it was mysterious, it kind of kept you on edge, and then when you went to this island, there was nothing kept you on edge. You wanted to see things, yet you was continuously disappointed throughout the whole of the film because there was nothing special about this island. There was no importance of this island. You had Jedi text in a tree, but that's it. Text and books, that didn't feel Star Warsy whatsoever. It just made no sense. Mary Sue. Rey. Stop Rey being a Mary Sue. It was so apparent by literally everyone, except from the filmmakers, that the middle film, the characters should all face challenges which enable them to progress and develop into the next film. Mary Sue, Rey, needed something bad to happen to her in order for her character to progress. Nothing bad can happen to a lead strong female character ever, or you get fired for creative differences. To counter Mary Sue, Kylo Ren gets lucky and it inadvertently comes off better than Rey in this film. I've said it before, Rey should have been captured by Snoke and turned to the dark side, whilst Kylo was betrayed by Snoke. Snoke manages to use his dark power to turn Rey, who he senses has force power greater than Kylo Ren. He reveals to Kylo Ren he was merely a pawn in a great search for his true apprentice. Kylo becomes enraged and engages in force combat with Rey and Snoke, knowing he is going to lose. In walks Luke Skywalker. He returns to save his old apprentice after letting go of all his sadness and sorrow in the ancient Jedi planet he was on, which is not Arc 2. He shows us again what it's like to be a true Jedi Knight. He's able to let go of his past for the sake of others. Luke manages to mildly defeat and not caught off guard Snoke, only to escape with Kylo Ren. Kylo Ren then becomes somewhat redeemed, but more importantly, we see the switch between Rey and Kylo Ren, still keeping this connection between both of them, but done through a better way. Snoke thinks Rey is more powerful, but she's not. It's because Kylo Ren couldn't fully commit to the dark side, because he's too much solo. The groundbreaking revelation in this film should have been the most obvious, but made in a way to make it unexpected, therefore adding weight and value to the scene. Whilst Luke and Kylo are flying away, Kylo asks why. Why do you care so much about her? Luke says, because he's a father. Cut back to Rey looking evil and bowing before Supreme Leader Snoke. That would have been a perfect and awesome end to the film. The droids. Something that is adamantly lacking in these new Star Wars films are the droids. Because Disney is so desperate to shove their new characters down your throats, all you see is BB-8. And BB-8 this, like everything else in this movie, even he was ruined by the ridiculous, unbelievable scenes which took you out of the film once again. I didn't even find the X-Wing thing at the start with him and Poe funny. What, he had to press some parts to fix Poe's gun problem? Wait, what? Bring back the astromechs. They were Star Wars. They're not meant to go out of date because it's a timeless design. Otherwise, everything else would start to feel outdated. Someone like myself was really looking forward to seeing a lot of R2-D2 and C-3PO in these movies, especially how they was marketing them so much. But it was yet another Disney trick. They use these characters to lure you in, but when you get there, there's nothing but Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, and JJ and Ryan Johnson characters shoved down your throat. The scene with R2-D2 and Luke on the Falcon, where he plays back Leia's hologram message, was really impactful and special. That's the kind of filmmaking you should expect from these films, as you get this deep sense of respect for the original characters with scenes of this nature. At the same time, scenes like that also remind you of how bad all the other counterpart scenes are in this movie, and kind of makes you wish you were watching one of the other Star Wars movies on the big screen. Like I mentioned earlier on, something which would have made a drastic difference and been a great payoff to C-3PO if C-3PO went on a covert operation with Finn, Poe, and DJ. C-3PO would get to interact with so many snobby droids in Canto Bight, which is kind of what he's like. You always get the impression he's always wanted to be the life of luxury, but then for the First Order Supremacy infiltration mission, DJ informs C-3PO in order to fit in, 3PO must be painted black, and because Disney could sell more toys. C-3PO will be able to wipe out the First Order memory banks, as it's in a secret dialect he's familiar with, because remember, DJ is the one who's able to break all the shields and passcodes to get C-3PO in to gain access to the data archives. C-3PO's mission would give our beloved characters a important side story. We want to see them back on an adventure, but with the droid Star Wars humor, not the crappy BB-8 slot machine guard takeout scene. Oh my god! It would be a cute idea that the mission the droids go on, like R2 carrying the Death Star plans, C-3PO has his moment to shine in the wiping clean crate from the data archives.
It's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
So those are some of the major character changes I've made with the main characters that they've created, and try to integrate them with old characters to make it more fun, more enjoyable, and more respectful. But here are some honorable mentions. Republic bombers. Explain some simple shit. The bombs they were using were gravity bombs. Let someone say, use the gravity bombs, and make the ships believable. Maybe slightly bigger Y-wings spring to mind, which are fast, less likely to self-destruct and implode on touching any other particle in space. The Republic. Show the Republic. Show Coruscant secretly amassing an army, ready to take on the First Order. But it has consequences. The Republic army could be infiltrated by Snoke, so the Resistance have more things to worry about and more reasons why they're fighting by themselves. Snoke and Palpatine. Show Snoke having something of Palpatine's, like the two vases Palpatine has in his office. Allow the audience to speculate more that he's Darth Plagueis, but not reveal this until episode 9. The Last Jedi will always, and let me emphasize the bit, always, because there's no going back ever, it's been created and forever, unfortunately Star Wars canon, be the worst Star Wars movie for me so far. I mean, there's room for episode 9. It's a film filled to the brim with terrible choices, direction, and plenty of oh my god moments. As you can tell, it wouldn't have taken much to drastically improve the movie, being true and respectful to their own fudging characters they created, but somehow they managed to ruin this also. It's a complete mess. My name's SKYMAN Universe. Support my channel on Patreon, subscribe for more, and comment to let off some Star Wars steam. like the wise Luke Skywalker, I shall leave you now and transition into the Force for no reason at all.